the 95th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the third week of June 2012. This episode is titled The Big 6.0. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for the 95th time in a row, slowly creeping up on 100 here, is Justin Elstein.
You're watching me count on my fingers.
That is something.
From 95 to 100, it's really sad.
It's
like, how many more episodes do we have?
That would be 5.
Yeah, that was sad. I realized that afterwards.
Pretty quick math. So we're cutting up. We have a couple things we're doing for our 100th episode. They're going to be a little bit interesting for those who are listening.
Let's be coy about it.
That's why I'm being coy. And then we have some stuff we're going to do for Dreamforce. That's even more interesting.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Well, hopefully people find it interesting.
Hopefully not less interesting. How could it be less interesting?
How could it be?
But let's get to our agenda today. We have we have the blog post du jour, which we can talk about, and then we have Apple news, Salesforce news, Microsoft news? Question mark. And there's a little bit of Dreamforce. I'm not sure. I don't think I had to sign any NDA to talk about that little thing we saw, so we can talk about what we saw in that piece. Kind of interesting little things that we know are already coming in Dreamforce, sort of the big release, the Dreamforce release of Salesforce.
Right.
All right, so first up is the blog post this week, reviewing Chatter Messenger, pros and areas for growth. Boy, that might get renamed before it gets up there.
I think that's going to get the blog master, myself, I'm going to rename that for whomever wrote it and make it a little bit easier to read and consume.
Say reviewing Salesforce.com's Chatter Messenger.
Yeah. How about that?
Also,
Chatter Messenger, a review.
I want that SEO in the title. Thanks. Yeah. By the way, the blog post that I posted, I don't know, the one about iTunes Match, which I think was almost a year ago, still one of the most searched terms that hits our I know,
I saw that. I was looking at the Google Analytics just last week, and I was looking through what people look for and land on us, and I was surprised that was in the top 10.
Yep, it is. For some reason, iTunes Match Review, we were the only people to ever write a match review.
Must have been.
You can find
that. We might be the only ones using it.
No, it's got a lot of users.
The only ones using Ping.
Ping, yes, the death of Ping. I guess we could talk about that too. But let's get it. So I won't go over too much. It's not up on the website today as you're listening to this, but maybe if you download this tomorrow, being Friday, it will be up on the blog blog.arkus.com. It's basically a review of Chatter Messenger. So Chatter Messenger, which came out as part of the summer 12 release from Salesforce. It is an IM client, instant messaging built into Salesforce. We've had some time to use it, and so one of us wrote a review of it. I don't really want to read the review so much as maybe just ask you thoughts on it since you've been using it for a bit. You actually have a really
I have an interesting use case.
You have a great use case. Why don't you use that?
So, as you know, we're your cloud computing experts.
That's it.
We do some consulting.
We do.
And we have clients. And I have trained one of our clients to use Chatter and to use it as a communication tool, and he's gotten so used to doing that when he has questions, he just chatters me on my wall in his org.
Right.
So he posts something to Chatter in their org, and I see it and I respond, and then inevitably I log into their org, and I see he's there. So all of a sudden now we're IMing. Now I have IM with one of our clients, Chatter Messenger, because I have a login to his org, which may change over time, but for now, not changing. And we were going back and forth, and he shot a bunch of questions back and forth, real time, doing our thing, make a change here, make a change there, build a report here, do this, do that. And we knocked out 4 or 5 things really quickly that would have taken a lot longer if we would have even just stayed in Chatter as opposed to Chatter Messenger.
Chatter?
I don't even know what to call it. It's
normal
old school Chatter.
Is
there old school Chatter at this point?
There it is.
So yeah, we went back and forth over IM or Chatter Messenger, whatever you want to call it, and knocked out a few things, and it was kind of an interesting way to use it. I'll say in our org, we haven't really been using it because we have. I mean, I was joking with you the other day because you and I were talking over 3 different mediums. I think we were chatting with Google Chat about something we chattered in the org and then we were in a Google Doc where we were like chatting. So we were just chatting everywhere.
Right. Not to mention the 10 or 15 emails that we
sent
or whatever.
So one of the takeaways at the end of the blog post was to try and get Chatter Messenger and Chatter embedded into some other places where you're already communicating, because too many contexts, too many places. As an organization, you sort of have to decide culturally, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Here at Arkus, Chatter Messenger hasn't really taken off yet.
Because we basically have two other presence, awareness, and places where I can see if you're by the way, coming to arrest you for using Chatter Messenger.
I think so.
Hey, we're in the heart of Times Square. This is what happens.
Sirens happen.
Police happen.
If you hear the sirens, it's outside.
That. So we already have two, and I think lots of organizations. So to me, the Chatter Messenger gets all of its power in the organizations who don't have those two other places. So if you're not using Google Docs with awareness, with presence, and you're not using an IM client, but you are a huge Salesforce shop with Chatter and don't mind the compliance problems of it, which means it cannot capture any of it, then it's a great thing because it's free, it's built in, it works pretty well. It's built into a browser, so it's always as dependent as the browser, which is always the thing when I've used browser-based IAMs. I've always felt a little bit like, yeah, that's the problem with this, is because my browser isn't something I consider open constantly. I consider my browser an application I can boot up, shut down 100 times. I want it more, into it. So things like the Chatter Desktop, if Chatter Desktop were to introduce Chatter Messenger in it, now you have even a more interesting thing. And then I would even consider maybe, would we shift away from Google Talk, because now I have a full desktop app that can do that thing, plus all the other Chatter greatness. So
you can use the little pop-out feature to pop it out,
still
but it doesn't do some of the things that you really like about chat. Like, I can jump into our Google chat that we've been having and see the whole chat.
Right.
So, like, I can jump in there right now. We haven't chatted since whenever, but I can see this morning, but I can see all the ones from the...
It's persistent.
It's persistent, right? It keeps that history there for me, and that's sometimes very useful. All right, so one last thing that the blog post does mention, and when you guys read it, you will love it.
Blog.arkus.com.
Yes, I almost just said Blarkus. I think I did.
Blarkus.
Blarkus. We should name our blog Blarkus.
That'd be funny.
I did throw an idea out on the Idea Exchange to make Chatter Messenger better, so you can go vote for my idea. It's linked to in the blog.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, how are they going to find this?
It's linked to in the blog post, so you'll have to go read the blog post. It's around going beyond presence in Chatter Messenger. So I'm logged into Salesforce. So what? I'm always logged into Salesforce. I'm talking to you about this opportunity right here in front of me.
Right.
I want to quickly get that to you. I just want to click a button and be like, I'm here at this record. Come meet me here so we can talk about it.
Meet me at the op.
Yeah, meet me at this opportunity, or meet me somewhere.
Right.
I'm on this report. I want to talk to you about the results of our sales for the last fiscal quarter. Whatever, right? I want you to meet me here. I want an easy way to do that.
Right. Right now it's copy and paste.
Yeah, copy paste, this, that. No.
But you figure you're in Salesforce.
I'm in it. I'm in it. I want to tell you where I am in it.
And I almost say that would be an interesting take on Salesforce as well, is if the opposite way, if I'm on a record, right now there's a little green icon, I guess it shows up next to my, I'm trying to think actually, I think it shows up next to my profile, but it doesn't show up if you're on an opportunity with a Chatter open, and you look at it, does it show that doesn't show an icon next to me?
No, it doesn't tell you where you are.
Doesn't show me. And I think that would be interesting. Salesforce knows where I am because it knows where I am. So if I'm on, this opportunity and you look at Chatter, it would be kind of nice to show, see how they have the followers?
Yep.
Yeah, so even there. So in the followers, it'd be nice to know maybe something around them, a beacon or something says, this guy, Jason, he's on this op right now looking at it. You might want to jump in. You might want to jump into chat and have a little go for chat. So again, all things I think they can do, but interesting. I mean, again, free, kind of nice, works, does the typing ahead, tells when people are typing, does awareness, does all that kind of neat stuff. Has a few rounds to go before I think it would become immediately desktop integration. or even iOS integration. That would be something cool too. All right, next up, speaking of iOS, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, so Apple had their WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference this week, Tuesday or Monday, this week. And it seems like months ago since I've read so much stuff about it. And basically, they released a full set of things. Now, a lot of it is hardware-based and OS-based, and this isn't the, iOS Weekly or Mac News Weekly. We're supposed to be a cloud computing show, although we are Mac fanboy. So I want to stick it to where they, release features that are much more cloud-based. And so I'm going to hit a couple things. I'm going to gloss over the fact that the new MacBooks are out.
You're going to have to do this because I did not pay attention.
So I'm going to have to hold up the entire show by myself, like the other 94 times I've done.
Pretty much.
Okay, excellent. So there are sort of features in a bunch of different places that I think are sort of interesting to our cloud audience. One is iCloud is everywhere now, and it's integrated very well, both into the application, into the iOS, the new one, Mountain Lion, which is coming up, which will be $20, $19.95, and you can install it on 5 computers.
Wow.
They are just basically saying this thing is OSs now are like they're almost free. $20 for an OS is basically free at this point.
Pretty much. You almost expect there to be nothing in it.
Yeah, so
for $20.
There's lots of they're just doing basically one a year. They're doing them as upgrades. They're putting in a lot of features. The new Mountain Lion is just going to be it's building in lots of stuff. So notification center, a lot of iCloud stuff. But the stuff that I thought was interesting was, a lot of the sharing stuff. So things that you do on your desktop will show up on your iOS device and vice versa. So the one I thought was interesting was they're calling Cloud Tabs. We could talk about that. If you're looking at your Safari on your desktop, you can hit a Clouds tab button. Will show you what tabs you have open on your iPhone and on your iPad.
Ooh.
So you're like in line. They're not the same ones, but you can see them. You can
Can you then open them?
Then you can open them.
Oh.
So then you can see if I was looking at this on my iPhone, I can now open it right up, and I don't have to navigate to it.
That's a lot of seems like a lot of data movement from my phone.
Your phone will be constantly sending stuff back and forth into iCloud.
I hope they're going to do something with that battery.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that'll be. I mean, you're doing it now. You just don't know it. There's all sorts of stuff. There's offline reading. So the reading list now, just like Instapaper, these places you're probably not using. If you hit, it'll now be offline. So if you say read later, you go to your iPad, it'll actually have it on your version you can read offline, automatically waiting for you. Trying to think of the other stuff that was really, there's a lot of it's little stuff, but I think it's just great that they're integrating iCloud into it. So notifications. So you're not a big iPad user, but the rest of us are.
I'm a big iPhone user.
But when you get a notification on your iPhone, it also shows up on your iPad. So let's say I get a tweet, and it shows up Twitter here and Twitter there. Now, if I go in and I dismiss it on my iPhone, it'll tell my iPad.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I don't use my iPad as often as you do.
Yep.
So you imagine when I open it up, there's 100 notifications on there, and it's like, this happened 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, just tons and tons of stuff like that. And I think they're brilliant. When I was thinking this morning was, as I was watching some other review of this, was iCloud is becoming not the Dropbox, not Google Docs, not Google Wave or Gmail or whatever. iCloud is becoming, it's the back end. It's more important than those things. It's capturing your back end stuff and making sure they're available everywhere without you doing a lot of work. Whereas in Google Docs, it's documents that are syncing, Dropbox is syncing. This is all preferences and things in the background that you don't even want to think about. We're handling, and we're doing in the background, so just to make your life easier. And I thought that was an interesting take on the cloud, or using the power of the internet and the cloud, which was we're not using it as something you're even seeing or thinking about. We're just doing it, and I kind of like that.
I still have a mental block against iCloud in certain scenarios. I get how it works in some respects, and then in other respects it's I guess I really just haven't used it. I don't do documents anymore,
right?
So if I were to open up a Word document or save it, how does
nothing would happen?
No.
But if you opened up a Pages document, then it would be available on all your devices instantaneously and updated.
So it's specific applications have iCloud sort of built into it.
And that's really the power. I mean, there's a lot of games now on the iOS. There's a lot of games that store their progress in the iCloud. So you could literally start a game on your iPhone, go over to your iPad, and then start it up and be like, here's where you were. None of this, like, devices become independent of each other. I think that's where it's really exciting.
Well, do you have that with Instacast? Doesn't Instacast have like an iCloud syncer?
It does, and so do the other three that do whatever. And they will tell which ones you've listened to and which ones you haven't. So if you listen to something on one app on your iPhone, you go over to your iPad, it's already listened to.
Well, what I mean is, like, you're listening to something on your phone, you stop in the middle.
Yep.
You could pick up.
Yep.
On the iPad.
Yeah. Yes. Some of them do. I don't know if Instacast does it because I don't use it on my iPhone, but. Again, that's really what. So I'm interested to see where this is going in terms of the cloud. Again, it's so most of the cloud stuff we talk about is really about this stuff that you see and touch. This is all stuff that you're not even thinking about, but it's making your life so easy. Again, even bookmarks. Like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't think about that. I just look at this little bookmark list, and oh, there's the bookmark I had opened up when I was reading on my iPad, and there's the one I was looking at on my iPhone. So cool stuff like that. Again, not really going to talk about the hardware. Great hardware. Lots of mirroring stuff. There's just so much stuff that they announced. It's hard to even go over all of it. But let's just say those MacBooks have been ordered. So
that's all I care about.
Yes, so that is something. Next up, a couple pieces of weird news, I guess.
What's so weird about this news?
This one's a little weird. Well, not weird. The next one's weird. But so Salesforce signs up for the Twitter fire hose.
Well, Radiant 6, really.
For Radiant 6, right.
Right.
Which actually reminded me as I was in our org today and I was looking at a lead and I saw all these fields all over the lead that were like, Twitter this, Twitter that, Twitter that. And I was like, boy, we don't use any of that.
No, none of it.
It's so useless. That Twitter, Facebook integration, that is the package. Unless you're like, your business model's around it. And I know we take in tweets and stuff from support, at Arkus support on Twitter. But like... man, it just looks messy and not well thought out. And maybe it's a
little old.
Yeah, at this point.
A little old school.
But anyway, so Salesforce signs up for the Twitter Firehose, which means that the 800 million tweets a day can get firehosed into Radiant 6, where you can then monitor it. I don't think we need to go through our whole Radiant 6, and we don't even know what it looks like.
Can they handle that amount of data? I wonder.
I'm sure they could. Actually,
I don't know.
Really?
I've heard rumblings about the reason why it's not so easy to get a free trial of Radiant 6 is that it can't just be like booted up. It's got to like do some indexing. Like you got to give it like, here's some things, here's my industry, here's some specific thing. It doesn't like crawl the whole internet for you.
Right.
It does specific things.
I wouldn't expect it to, but that doesn't mean you can't give me a free trial and I can go start those specific things.
Well, maybe there's more setup than we think. Anyway, so they got the fire hose. Fantastic. I mean, I think this is interesting more for Twitter than for Salesforce. Twitter sold something. Like, Twitter has something that people want to buy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Buy your tweets.
Buy the fire hose.
And immediately I thought...
and use it and resell it,
right.
Essentially.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It's like, wow, this is... If Facebook had said the same thing, we just sold every status update every day to Microsoft, wouldn't the world just collide?
Well, it's a very different thing.
Well, it is and isn't. They're two different models. But if I just took away the Facebook and took away Twitter and said, you have a space, you go in, you type in your stuff, and then you hit and you submit it to some website.
No, they're different. They're different for one very big thing. Twitter is public. It is a blog.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blog. It's 140 characters, but it's a blog.
You know you can post public things on Facebook
sure,
now.
But you also know that you can also not publish public things and keep them private, specifically saying this is a private status update for these people to see.
I think it was Al Franken who I said, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. For everybody who's a big Facebook user, just know that I'm staring right at you, Justin,
Me.
and you, the microphone, Snowball, you are Facebook's product.
Yes.
You are the Matrix. You are those jellious masses feeding Facebook. So just realize anything you kind of give them, you're giving them the power to do that. And so Same thing with Twitter, but I just thought it was interesting because they could sell every tweet that ever happened in a day, or a fire hose, and sell it to a for-profit company, which is going to use it to monitor what you're doing, and everybody goes, yeah, that's fine. But if Facebook had done the same thing, even if they had said the public ones, even if Facebook came out tomorrow and said, we've sold to Microsoft every public status update that's ever happening, we sold it. Anything you made public, Microsoft can pull it into their engine, everybody would have 3 shoot fits. I almost made this podcast explicit.
Yeah, they'd have have to make it very explicit in saying it's just the public ones.
I'm not even sure that people understand that.
Well, that's the problem. People don't understand it. So then there's the shoot fit. But I mean, Twitter is you don't have a preference, really. I mean, you can make your profile private so that people can't follow you unless you say.
You DM people.
You can DM people, which they're not selling.
I don't know if it's part of the feed or not.
No, definitely not. You can't sell people those private little DMs. That's not public.
I don't know. I use Twitter in such a way that if they wanted to, fine. Because I don't assume that they're not.
Yeah.
I always assume they are selling it.
I know it's public, so that's public stuff.
Right. It's all public.
That's it.
And then, so interesting. I mean, Radiant 6 gets interesting. I just think you're right. From a Twitter side,
it's more interesting from a Twitter standpoint to me.
Salesforce getting this thing.
I kind of assumed they had it already.
I think they had it, but more through scraping an API, not Firehose.
Yeah, I sort of just assumed that they had it, so this doesn't really strike me as all that interesting from a Salesforce Radiant 6 perspective. I think it's more interesting from look, Twitter has a way to make money perspective, because people are that interested in this.
Well, and they're also watching Facebook's IPO kind of crash and thinking, well, when's Twitter going to go? They're saying Twitter might be 2013 now. And in some ways, Twitter, I think, could come out with a better IPO. I feel like people would, just like LinkedIn, I feel like Twitter has much more specific and is much more known what it is. LinkedIn is like LinkedIn, and then Facebook always has this weird, it's like private, it's personal, it's sharing, it's friends, it's the social graph. Twitter's like microblogging.
Yeah.
With
some trends.
Yeah, and they actually launched the NASCAR they now have hashtag topic pages. So if you go to twitter.com/ I think pound NASCAR, they have a whole page that's built up of all the stuff that's happening on NASCAR.
Fantastic.
That's cool stuff. All right. Next up.
Let's do it.
This actually gets stepping on people's toes. The rumor, not true, rumor, safe harbor applies, is that Microsoft is going to buy Yammer for $1 billion. Now, who cares about the price? Even if it was $1.50, it wouldn't really matter. I don't really care. I don't have anything to do with Yammer. Other than Yammer is a massive competitor to Chatter. In fact, the before Chatter, Salesforce's Chatter, and Microsoft is a massive competitor to Salesforce in the CRM cloud space in many ways. So them making a huge sort of push into what we would now call the social enterprise is interesting.
Well, Yammer is the enterprise social network.
Is that what they call themselves?
Yeah.
Oh. The enterprise social network.
The enterprise social network.
Excellent.
They're the social network for the enterprise.
You once did a blog post.
I did.
I think 2 actually on Yammer versus. Didn't you do a
while
follow-up?
ago? Yeah, because I did it when Chatter first came out. Then Chatter added more features. So I did another one. I'm not going to do another one. I don't want to. I now admittedly don't know enough about Yammer. I had at the time played with it. Now I don't really know much about what it can and can't do. From people who have talked to, though, they liked Yammer when they used it. They said, it has a really good, rich features. They liked it. It was well adopted at their company, particularly. And I think we've talked about this before, but
where we saw someone go from Yammer to Chatter, and the adoption
dropped way off because Yammer had a few things and it was just ingrained in people, and that's that.
I think that's what I say. I just expect if I take away anybody's anything and give them anything better, the adoption is never going to go up. I've known too many people at those big corporations I worked at that it doesn't matter what you change. If it went from you had to go outside to go to the bathroom to I put a bathroom inside, they'd be like, well, I used to like the walk. You're like, really? You used to go outside? And yeah. I think people just get ingrained. It'd be interesting to follow that a year after, whatever. But
So, did you see Mark Benioff's Facebook status this morning?
Please enlighten me.
Oh, he had this picture of it was like a huge Microsoft sign.
Okay.
One that would go on a building, like a big one.
Okay.
It was like loaded on a tractor trailer or something. And it was like on its way to Yammer. ... or something along those lines.
I'm gonna head to his.
Yeah, you should find it. It's pretty interesting. There it is.
Oh yeah.
See, it's like a big building sign.
Oh, it's like a it's like
one that you put on
yeah.
an office building.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm making hand motions as if people can see me.
There's no video for this podcast.
Oh, there's not.
Yes.
Thank God.
Even though I am dressed up and
you are dressed up.
I am.
Looking fancy today.
Thank you, fancy sauce. Interesting.
They gotta do something.
Well, I think
Oracle and
real,
Salesforce are like full steam ahead, buddy, and Microsoft's sitting there with SharePoint still, and it's like, yeah, SharePoint, social, it like posts documents and stuff.
Social,
yeah, it's cloud. You could like host it somewhere. So they gotta do something.
If I were Salesforce, I would be long term. I'd be a little worried because I think just that they're going to buy this user base and be able to sell as part of the packages.
It's also just the Microsoft install base.
Right.
If you're looking for something different like a chatter and you've got your Microsoft stack and then the Microsoft sales guy comes in and is like, yeah, well, we got Yammer. It's pretty darn good.
And that's the thing. Yammer isn't bad. They didn't buy a bad version of something. They bought something that feature for feature is probably better than chatter. My guess right now. It's been around longer. I think it's probably better. Is it built in Salesforce? No, but now they built this in. But Microsoft has a very good track record of.
When you say good, do you mean bad?
No, I mean great track record.
You're talking about Skype, maybe?
Of buying things, doing nothing with them for many years, and basically killing them off because they don't really know how to run that business. They almost, Microsoft just hasn't been able to get out of its own way. I don't know if it's corporation. I don't know if it's leadership. I don't know what it is. But just they've had so many examples of buying these things, and if they try to integrate it, it usually kills it off because maybe it's cultural. So, like, if I were Salesforce, I'd be like, okay, great. You just put your cards on the table. You want to get into the space. Great. Now we know that you're validating our vision. That's awesome. You're probably in a year or two, you'll have something that you can build into Microsoft Dynamics to kind of say, hey, look,
And SharePoint.
And SharePoint, right? So you can get that story. If you can get it together and organized, who knows? That's a big if. But, then you think, great, we're just going to innovate. We're going to innovate our way around you, which is always what Microsoft's problem is. They don't really innovate. They just sort of follow other people. And in this industry, in most industries, they generally don't, they can't catch up. So anyway... Interesting is
right.
The last of the new interesting things was a something sort of, a little bit of breaking news, which is that we sat on a webinar.
That's right.
Showing off and actually preparing people who have App Exchange applications on the App Exchange, like the Permissioner and Compliance for Chatter. Humble brag, showing them sort of what they're doing in the next round, the next release. And interesting enough, they're re-releasing the App Exchange and they're making it much more social. That's clear. But they're bringing us a couple cool features, which I thought was interesting. For us, it was more about, hey,
get ready because there's a deadline and you better do stuff.
You better get your stuff ready. You better get your files ready to give us because we're going to relaunch and you don't want to look bad when we do it. We're going to have big names and big things will be different sizes. So
get
those PNGs ready.
Yeah.
By the way, funny enough, drop those PNGs onto Dropbox.
I gave a big head nod to that. I didn't get it.
Which way did you head your nod?
It was going vertically.
Vertically?
No, I guess horizontally.
Yeah. Wow, you can count from 95 to 100.
It was going
vertical.
It was going from left to right.
Left to right.
And back and forth and back and forth. Like, really? I need to get invited to a Dropbox folder where I need to name my file in a specific format for you, the social enterprise, to pick up off of a shared Dropbox folder that other people are going to have access to? I don't get it.
Oh, well, first of all, you clearly weren't involved in the booth design last year because it's exactly what they do in the booth design. You just drop to an FTP site, talk about 1997 call.
I just don't understand. It's like, why can't I just upload it in the App Exchange? Or why couldn't you just give me one of those other better places to collaborate, like a customer group or a chatter org.
And I know why.
I know why. Set up a chatter org and invite me in there and let me drop some stuff in there.
True, and as partners, we already have a partner org. The problem
is partner portal.
Partner portal. I wonder if that is for every AppExchange partner, though.
Sure.
You think you have to be part of the partner portal?
Yes.
Then why wouldn't you just do it there?
I don't know.
And they have content up there.
I don't know. Probably because that partner portal is pretty custom. And to make a change to it is probably a pretty lengthy experience.
Siteforce. And done.
You know, you can say all these things, but then doing them is a different story.
Oh, I do them all the time, but I was making more a joke. So interesting enough, much more social. They're going to integrate chatter-like discussions.
Seemed like a chatter answers type of
answers, not ideas. We saw an ideas tab, and I was like, "Woo, ideas!" Because here's the thing: as an AppExchange product company, which we have 2 free AppExchange, and don't really want to go, into pay, you basically don't want to have to host a lot of stuff to put up these free apps. You don't want to host forums. You don't want to host all this stuff. So, like in that, they're going to host discussions and ideas in the future. And answers, meaning people can go on and go, hey, the permissioner, I got this SOQL query. Can someone else help me out? And we can both leverage it as we'll get alerts to that. We can go answer it. And or maybe someone else who's a permissioner user can go in and go, oh, the
likelihood of that happening is slim.
I don't think so at all. I think for someone like going to something like Conga Composer, I would definitely go in and answer just like I would on Quora or Answers. I think it's brilliant. Well done. If they do it right and integrate with the whole Answers thing and sort of Answers for AppExchange, I could totally see people doing it.
We'll see.
Plus, they can get their people to do it. The companies can do it, and I think it'll be easier to get things answered. And you can go look through the old answers. And
did you find it interesting how many people, a lot of the questions that got opened up were pretty much like, how can I turn that off? Like people wanting to get social, not ready for it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Like, can I turn that off? Was like a question that was asked a number of times. They didn't answer my question.
What was your question? What was your question?
Well, they showed part of it was mobile. It's a relaunch of the AppExchange optimized for mobile.
Right.
And I don't really get it. Like, does that mean that I can install an application from the AppExchange on my mobile device? Or does that mean I can browse the AppExchange? Like, what does that do?
What does the AppExchange mobile mean?
What does it do? Is it just a browse search, or is it a real action thing?
It's a listing of their mobile stuff built for mobile. So if you go to the AppExchange on your mobile device, it recognizes it and then sends you there.
You think it's only for mobile device
apps? You can get to the... It's only for mobile device apps.
Is that what you got from it? Because that's not what I got from it.
That's what I got from it.
I don't know about that. It looked as though it was full AppExchange site optimized for mobile. That's what I got from it.
Oh yeah. Sorry. There's the AppExchange mobile, the mobile AppExchange, which is a listing of things that are just built for mobile. Right. Then there's a AppExchange site rebuilt so it works well on mobile.
That's the part I didn't really get. Am I searching for things, or am I actually installing things from here? Because if I'm actually installing things from here, how does that work?
I think it's more looking. So right now, I think if you go to the AppExchange with your mobile device, it's a little clunky. Like some of the technology is a little older, so it's not using the newest HTML and stuff. So like navigating around is tougher. I think they're going to make it probably HTML5 and much easier to do stuff. Interesting enough, they said they were going to really stress videos.
Yes.
So
YouTube. So embed YouTube videos
right into your listing. So it's going to be the first thing you see. We actually embedded a YouTube video into our setup screen. We have it there as well, so we'll definitely have to update those and keep that going because that seems like something that people want to use. All right. Speaking of which, by the way, we'll be at Dreamforce booth 334. Let's go to our CloudFocus app picks of the week. So
all right.
I would like your pick first, please, sir.
Is that the name of your pick that you just put in there? That's interesting.
Yes, it is.
All right. So I'm picking an app for the iPad. So I've actually been using the iPad for this one specific purpose recently.
Really?
And the app it's not a new app. It's called Watch ESPN. I'm sure most people have heard of it. They're pushing it big time on ESPN. And the reason why I've been using it recently is that the Euro 2012 is happening right now. So the big soccer tournament in Europe. I'm a big fan of the footy. And I want to watch these matches, and they're on ESPN, and I can just jump right into my Watch ESPN app and watch them while not having to change the channel on the television that the little lady's watching and disturb her from whatever she's watching. So we kind of like create two televisions. I was able to watch a lot of games. Game 7 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals was on there, and I was able to watch. It's live. It's whatever's on ESPN or any of their other properties, ESPN, The Ocho. You can watch on this app. All you need to do is log into your cable provider.
Yeah, so that's sort of
like HBO Go.
Yep.
You log into your cable provider, and basically it checks to see that you have cable and have the internet, and you're good to go.
But you have to be supported under one of the cable
providers. They have
providers.
tons of them though. I mean, it's
they
not
have
like
the one that I used to use or you use.
I don't know because I'm logging in through Time Warner right now. But it's not like HBO Go, which has like 8.
Right.
It's like whoosh list, like big list. If RCN's not on there, I'd be very surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, that'd be great. I actually have not downloaded it because either I looked or something, I just didn't see it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna feel upset that I can't watch it.
It's pretty good,
So
and
it's
it
just
streams
full-on-
really well, like good
full-on
HD quality.
ESPN.
ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPNU, all the ESPNs. Anything that's on ESPN, including things that aren't on the television because they got the ESPN3. It's like its own thing.
Right.
So like you can pretty much find most sports that are on live. You can pretty much find it.
That's great. And it
Pretty
looks good.
It looks great.
You have to probably have some good bandwidth.
Yeah, you're gonna want some good bandwidth.
Good bandwidth is a must. All right, so watch ESPN for the iPad. Very nice.
Right.
Free, except for you need $130 cable bill
You
a
need your
month.
cable.
Interesting. There's a lot of articles about HBO, and I use HBO Go. Not only, actually, I don't use it on my iPad. I use it on the Roku, and love it. I mean, just love it. To be able to go in and watch many episodes, just awesome. But I will say that it's like, why do I need HBO anymore? Like, just sign me up. I pay for Hulu. I already pay for something that doesn't even
just
exist.
think about it opposite. Just flip it.
No, I don't want to flip it.
Flip it. So don't even think about the fact that you're paying for HBO. Think about the fact that you're paying for HBO Go, and the side effect of paying for HBO Go is that you get HBO. Just flip it. You'd pay for HBO Go the same amount that you're paying for HBO.
Right, except for it's a negotiated price. It will go up eventually. Like, I'm on the 1 year $9.99 for a month.
HBO plan.
But
just think about it that way. You're paying for HBO as opposed to paying for HBO Plus or HBO Go, whatever. And the side effect of paying for HBO Go is that you get HBO.
All right.
HBO's been playing Back to the Futures recently.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I love Back to the Future. Last night they had Back to the Future, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could sit there and just watch that every day. Literally every day. It's sad.
Yeah, that is a little sad. Just saying.
I love those movies.
Yeah, I don't know if those are really my...
I love them.
Yeah, that's not really my thing.
All right, what's yours?
All right, well, mine is actually... I'm actually looking at it now as we speak, trying to get it ready. Mine is an app that I saw... I think I didn't pick this, but I talked about why I would buy something. What are my 2 requirements for buying something?
Universal.
And...
Under $2 or something?
99 cents Universal. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to try it. Buy it and try it. So I'm picking Agenda by a company called App Savvy. And what it is a, while I do love the calendar on the iPad and iPhone, there are some different views and stuff that it just doesn't do very well. And so this one is a full-on new calendar for your iPad and iPhone. So it's universal, so 99 cents gets you both versions. What's nice about it, it reads in all your calendars. So there's no setting it up, there's no whatever, it gets everything.
Where's it get its data from?
It gets it from your calendars.
So you have to have your calendars.
Well, you already have your calendars.
You're using your calendar, and then this is like another layer on top of your calendar.
Yeah, it is. It's another layer on top, but
because you're already using your calendar, your iCal calendar.
But it connects to your calendars.
Well, that's what I mean. But you have to already be using your iCal.
Oh yes, if you're not using your calendar, well then you can set this up to do other things, I guess. But
all right.
But so, it's got some neat features, just different views and different ways of looking at stuff.
Okay, looks like we're podcasting right now on your calendar.
We are.
Okay.
There's a couple different things that you can. There's a couple different things you can do within it. Like you can change things. One of the things I really love is I'm trying to figure out how to do this, seeing which one I can do it with. There's a great feature within it to be able to So I could go to an event inside my calendar. This is for all you at home, you're not seeing this. So what's neat is I'm opening up an event. Why don't I open up the podcasting one since I didn't know how to do this?
Let's do it.
So then I could say, I could click at this button. I'm looking at it, and what's nice is it has these three little buttons. I can do confirm, which will send out an email to the recipient saying, "Are we still on for this?" I can say here, it'll send off an email saying I'm here, and it can say I'm going to be late, which I'm going to do now, and say I'm going to be 15 minutes late, and then it'll set up an email to shoot off.
It's like a little macro.
Yeah, a little macro to kind of say you can shoot off to people to say are you going to be late or not. And
I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat, just kind of a neat thing. I think now, obviously, I haven't tried these with different calendars. To try this calendar, so I have different.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like it's got these little neat features on the.
What's in the other tab?
In the other tab?
Well, there's other. There's like other.
Oh. It just shoots a message.
Straight up
plain
email.
But it's not actually filling out the person, which is interesting.
It doesn't know who the person is.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't know who the person is.
Probably because you didn't set the person in your calendar.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if I could pull up one that was... Hold on, let's pull up one. No, that's not it.
I don't think you have any.
Yeah, I was trying to see ones that actually have the thing in it. But anyway, kind of cool. Neat design, neat way of flipping through the calendars. I love this. Inside the different day views, you can scroll up and down. Anyway, if you're looking, there's themes. If you're looking to if you don't really love or want some new features that kind of aren't in the iCal on your iPad for 99 cents, it's sort of a nice little feature by App Savvy. It is called Agenda, and it is universal and 99 cents. So give it a shot. All right, well, that's it for this week of CloudFocus Weekly. Go to blog.arkusinc.com and you can subscribe to the RSS feed there. You can comment on all the blog posts and on all the shows. Follow the company at Arkus Inc. either on Facebook or Twitter. We're also Jason, or I am at Jason Matwood. Justin's here at Just Edelstein. We're on Google+. Go into Google+ and search for Arkus and you'll find us, ARKUS. And so go subscribe to the podcast in any one of your favorite things like Instacast or in iTunes. If you leave a great review, a fairy gets its wings.
Nice.
Until next week, from CloudFocus Weekly, Jason and Justin here at Heart of Times Square. Enjoy those cloudy days.